Good evening. Hopefully I'm live on YouTube. So thank you for tuning in. Just looking at the comments, there's quite a few people there. I did test the sound earlier on, so I'm fingers crossed everyone can hear me okay. But if you can just give a thumbs up if you can, that would be absolutely fantastic. So what I'm trying to do is do comments, and I'm going to frag amongst other things, and we will see how it goes. So yes, you can. Excellent. Right. So what's the purpose of this evening? Well, in the title, it's fragging Chalice. So I've kept Chalice for about 6.5 years. And in that time, I've managed to frag loads and loads of chalices. When I first started out, I must admit, I probably, for every 10 that I fragged, I probably killed at least half of them. Over the years, I've tried different things, and now I have a far better success rate. So hopefully what I can do is share how I frag them, and we'll go from there. So what are we going to frag? Well, we're going to frag a avatar chalice, first of all. That's in the tank I'm looking to break down. And so that's one of the big colonies that I'll frag. Also, I've got a watermelon chalice. Now I'm going to frag. Now, if both of those go okay, I'm going to get one of the rainbow chalice out of a tank and attempt to frag that. And I've never fragged rainbow chalice before, so I'm a little bit nervous, to say the least. So before we crack on, I just want to see who's in the chat. So AB Reef, thank you very much. Stefan, I am here, and I know Stefan, you're a bit of an expert on chalice, so I'm sure you give me some feedback. Hiya Queen City, the bearded one, some regular faces here from the Friday Night Live. So hi Techers. Hi Stu, UKM, evening. Hi Kim, thanks for the part for the Pico Reef. Mr. J, hiya. Cornish Reefer. Mr. Butler's in the house. I see him on most live streams. Right, okay, so let's kick off. So I'm just going to go to a different camera angle, and hopefully that will work, which it has. Take it off there. So, right, what do I use for fragging? Well, it really depends on what the chalice is like. So, if it's really thin, then I'll just use a pair of scissors. Simple as that. If it's a little bit tougher, then I've got a small pair of cutters there. Hopefully you can see that. And if it's a really thick piece of chalice, then I'll go for larger cutters. Now, these come in a set. Now, why have I got these two? When I find I take corals out of the tank, sometimes there might be a pest on there. There might be a bristleworm, and you don't want to get a bristleworm into your finger because it irritates and hurts for quite a while. So that's there to pull it off. In the tank that I've got, there are some vermitid snails. So I'm hoping there's none on there, but if there is, then I use this to scrape it off. Now, it's all part of a set. So I bought this set back in 2019, and it works really well. I got this from Corals, coralz.co.uk, and they're pretty good. What you've got to make sure you do is that you rinse them in tap water afterwards to get the salt water. Now, I've got the odd little bit of rust on there, but that's got nothing to do with the kit. That's because of my incompetence. So you can just see there, you get a little bit of rust on there. Not that it makes any difference, but that's purely around making sure you wash them afterwards and also dry them as well. So without further ado, let's see if there's any more comments. Oh yeah, multi-camera. Practice that a little bit. So hopefully that'll work. Otherwise, from the other camera, you won't be able to see, and you really don't want my ugly face on there either. So let's get rid of that comment. So this is the first one. So this is an avatar chalice. Now, what's happening? You probably can't see it. So they've got it's a little bit dead there, and a little bit on that side. Now, the reason why that died off, I'm just going to put it closer to the camera without spilling all over a laptop. You can just see that there. Now, chalice do not get on well with mushrooms. So what happened was I had a couple of mushrooms that detached and decided to attach themselves. So you can just see on that side there where it's killed it off, and that dead piece. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold that and frag all around here. So we just turn it over just to see what's on the other side. And lo and behold, we have some vermeted snails. So quite a few. So you can just see all of those there. So what we're going to do, we're going to get those off, and I'm either going to put them off like so. It's just going to go all over the kitchen floor, which is not good, but I'm on my own. Or you can use that. So I find you don't have to be really careful. You can just scrape along and you can take everything off. So I'm just going to do that. And then what I'm going to do in a minute, I'm going to start chopping up the pieces, and then we'll examine them after they've been chopped to make sure they're in the right shape. Now, what I'll do once they're done, so when I used to chop these off, I used to mount them onto frag plugs with a piece of putty, but I soon found out that Chalice, certainly when they've just been fragged, hate putty. So what I tend to do then, I chop them and I put them in the sump without attaching them at all for 2 to 3 days, just so they settle down. Because what happens is they really slime up. And if you put them on a frag plug, one, they don't always stick because they've slimed. And secondly, they have a habit of stripping. So I find just by putting them into the sump for 2 or 3 days, it makes a big difference. They can slime up and they're not aggravated by anything, because sometimes you put new Chalice onto a sand bed, the sand gets blown onto them. So what you do is you just take them out of the way from being agitated at all. Excuse me. And then once they're done, then I can then mount them by using super glue or anything like that. But right, okay, so let's get on with some fragging. Let's need some water. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the pieces in now. So around the edge, they're quite thin. So all I'm going to do is cut the pieces. Now, what you find with Chalice, another reason why they strip, if you don't get a clean cut and they tear, they've got more chances of actually stripping and dying. So underneath there, you can see it's just nice and thin all around that edge. So I'm just going to cut it. And you just, I don't know if you can see, it's just beginning to slime up already. Okay, there's the first piece there. I'm probably going to get quite a few pieces. So I'm going to try and do big pieces because I really do not want 15 or 20 frags. So I can cut to there, and then you start to go across some tougher pieces where it's a lot thicker. So there, I just get the cutters and just start to cut. Now it's just beginning to rip. You can see there. So the best I can do is just cut. And that piece there, hopefully you can see, is nice and clean, really slimed up. Just going to put in the water, hopefully the right way up. And then we carry on. So I'm going to take this piece out across there. And as you can see, it's a lot thicker. Yeah, cottage reef. Hopefully I won't wreck the kitchen, but you never know, especially as I'm live, and I'm hoping no one's watching from our house. Otherwise, I won't really be alone for very long. Hopefully you can just see that. It's just becoming to get apart there, and it's just, if I pull that, that's going to tear it. So I just need a bit more time just to cut it. You can just see the scissors. And there we go. There's another nice piece there, and it's quite a thick piece. Right, and this time I'm just going to go right across there. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. You know, it's a bit too, the scissors are not going through, and I'm not going to force it. So we will use the clippers, and you can see it's just that one clip there has torn it almost to the edge. So I don't want that to rip, although it's just about to rip. Just going to finish it off. There. There we go. Now I'm probably going to have to tidy that up a little bit. You'll just be able to see it's a bit jagged underneath. So I'm going to leave that in the sump, and then when I've got a bit more time tomorrow, I'm going to tidy it up. Now what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to put these back in the bucket because I've run out of room. Jay, that's an Avatar Chalice that I've just done. So it's kind of greeny bluey with I think red eyes. But if you Google it, you will see it. Right, so I've got some more thin pieces just across there. So I'm going to use the scissors there and see if I can get that in. No, it's too tough. So I use the cutters. And then use that. And sometimes I've cut chalices and they'll ping across the room. Doesn't mean they're going to die. They'll be okay. And then I've got this last piece here. You do lose a few bits because that's torn. You can see it's all slimed up. So I'm going to lose that piece there. But I should be able to cut across there. So, do you need to worry about time out of the water? No, I don't. What you can do, you can just dip it in the water as long as it's wet, and you can still see the shimmer on it. So it's still wet. So as long as it's wet, you're okay with that. So just dip it back in the water, and then we go again. So Stefan, yeah, interested in fragging, no problem. I usually let them settle, usually for at least 3 weeks, because what you find around the edges, and I'll just show you this one here, they're a little bit brittle, and you can just see they're all white and jagged around the edge. So it just needs time to heal. Right, we'll carry on with this one. So you can see it's dead there. I'm just going to cut that out. I've got plenty of frags here. So I'll just cut the dead piece off. You can see, and it just fall away quite easily. And then what I'm going to do, I'll do a cut all the way across this piece to get a big piece. And what I'll try and do it from the other side so you can see it's quite a thick piece there. So I'll use the cutters to begin with to go through, and it's started to split across there. So I'm not going to get a big piece, to be fair. So what we'll do, we'll come the other way. And you can just see it's loose there. And I don't really want to tear that. So we'll just cut it. And then it's come off. Just a little bit of it's hanging by a thread. Can't really see that under the camera there. It's hanging. So I'm just going to cut it. That fell off. And that's that piece done. So let's see if we can get a big piece, because I don't really want any more small pieces, in all fairness, because I'll have too many frags. As you can see, it just bashed down onto the box. That should still be okay. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to empty these out because it's getting a bit too full. So that's a really good question, Stu. Do I use anything? Now, I have used iodine before, and I've dipped. What I find with chalices, even if I buy them from the shop, or whether I'm fragging, if I buy a chalice from the shop and I dip it, I find it loses colour. It doesn't die, it loses colour. And I've never, well, I did the first time use iodine, but I've found that just naturally leaving them in the sun for them to heal is fine. And they don't tend to lose colour. Now, what I find, the bit I've got left there, that's a really thick piece. I'm not going to be able to cut into that with either the small ones or the large ones. I'm just going to absolutely rip it apart. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a little bit off of there, and then I'm going to put this back into the sump and then sell it as that frag. Now, I don't know if you see that there, vermitids now. Just there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to scrape that off because I don't want that going back in. I might have to pull it off. or even use cutters on it, because once they start curling like that, it's quite hard to get them off. So it's a webcam, so the focus is not the best in the world. So have I employed Julie? No, because I haven't said what time it finishes. With the Friday night, obviously we say it's 2 hours. I've got no idea. This could last 15 minutes if it goes horribly wrong. We're past 15 minutes. I hope it's okay. Or it could go on for an hour. I can't imagine it go on to 2 hours because we haven't got Steve talking about KH Keeper or Jay boasting around how he gets free water or cheap water at Spotless, or with Ross with yet another tank that he's got. So it's just me. So we hopefully won't drag on. But I'm sure you'll let me know if I'm falling asleep. Stephanie, I've got a Raja Rampage. I fragged one piece and that was fine. But what I would say is I think a Rainbow Chalice is on a different level to Raja Rampage, even though they used to be around about, what was it, about 150 quid for 2 eyes. They're a lot cheaper, but as you know, about 1 centimetre in diameter of a Rainbow Chalice is probably going to be at least 150 quid. Probably actually a really decent one, you're talking 250 to 300. Let's go have a look at some of the comments. I couldn't possibly talk about Jay and his nitrate tests. There's a comment there about Raja Rampage. I don't know if Julie's in the house. Julie, are you here? Iodine. No, I don't use iodine. I suppose I could use iodine just to see what it's like, but I really don't want to lose the colour because a lot of the ones I frag, I end up moving on. If they lose their colour, it can take quite a while for them to gain their colour back. And no, I don't worry about it, Ross. Right, okay, so I think I'm going to call it a day with that piece because I mean, look how thick that is. There is no way I'm going to be able to put anything through that. I will clean it up because I think there's a couple of vermitid snails still on that. So put that back in. And then what I'll do in about 10 minutes, I'll put those back into the sump before the water gets too cold. Right, so now I'm going to find the next coral. So what I've done, I put the watermelon chalice into this just to keep it warm. Right. Now, watermelon chalices are absolutely superb. You're probably not going to be able to see the coloration properly, but this is how chalices, when they're small, they really grow. So that's a natural one. They normally form in a circle if they've got plenty of flow around them. And that's really thin. So that's the frag plug that I got it on originally. That's got actually quite a few vermitids on it as well. I'm just going to get those off. One of the things is when they're thin, not to put a lot of pressure with your thumb on there, because what you find is you put too much pressure on it, you'll kill that section, and you'll find it'll just die that part, and it will spread a little bit. And sometimes what I find is if you've got a bit of chalice that's died off, just snip it around the dead area, and it should come back. So I'm not going to frag this too much. I'm probably just going to frag one piece. So I'm going to pick this area here, and all I'm going to do is just at an angle, cut it like so. And then the thing is, what you don't want to do when you've got that last bit is rip it across there. So somehow I need to get across there, and that's quite often why I cut it in a V, because that way it's easier and you haven't got to snap it. Now that's got a little bit tough there, so I'm just going to use this for the final bit. There you go, there's one piece, and that's it there. It's a bit gooey. This one's a little bit more fragile, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that back in the pot, because I'm not going to frag any more than one piece. of that. It's just really to show. Right, has anyone got any questions? Let's go down, look if there's any more comments. I have to go watch Derby. I'm sure, Jay, you was at the game today, weren't you? So I know you was at Derby County. Super Rams, yeah, there's the NFL this evening. Best team in the world. Stefan, the next question. That is a watermelon. So it's purple. I can't remember what colour the eyes are. I mean, it's got a green rim all the way around the end. It's a stunning coral. What I might do is see if I can get an old picture. In fact, I might have one on my phone. Yeah, I have. If you can see that, that's the watermelon there, Stefan. Green around the outside. It's not the best because obviously it's got super amount of blue in that one. So the avatar, how long has it taken to grow to the size of that? The avatar, I've had that for about 4 years, but it's been fragged I don't know how many times because there's a few people I've sold pieces to. That watermelon, when I first got it, it was in the wrong place in the other tank, so it didn't grow very fast. That's probably grown in about a year. It's doubled in size. So it depends with them, Ross, with chalices. It takes a while for them to get used to what they're doing. And then after that, they'll grow like weeds. So how long have I been fragging corals? Probably, so I've been in the hobby 8 years this year. I didn't really frag much in the first year or so because you've got nothing to frag. So depending on the coral, but as I say, chalices I've been fragging probably for about 6 years from time to time. I love chalices. They're my favourite coral. And as long as you keep them in, I find sandbed is probably the best place to keep them, but just raise them up a little bit so that they don't get agitated. Low light, I find the higher you put them up in the tank, then the more they lose their colour. So I find better on that. And in terms of flow, I find they deal with all kinds of flow. They need a minimum just to be able to brush detritus off and crud off. But I've had 1 or 2 in really high flow, and they've been fine. And you do find some are better in with high light, but I wouldn't put a chalice more than about a third off the sandbed because they just won't like that. If you've got things like radians and you end up trying to fry your tank, they will just not take kindly to them. They'll just lose their colour. Well, Julie, you're late. I can't believe it. Does the chalice take the shape of whatever rock it's on, or do they grow in a circle like that? Now, because I keep them in the sandbed, they usually grow in a circle. Now, the avatar is a weird shape because I'd fragged it. And also I had it at an angle in the tank. So it was resting on so you've got a rock there. It's resting like that onto the sandbed. But I usually find them in a circle. If you've got corals in front of them and the flow, haven't got flow all the way around, then you'll get some weird shape. I haven't really grown them on rock that much. So would they encrust on rock? Yes, they would. The only one I've had that I've encrusted in a rock did have a more peculiar shape. It wasn't circle, but most of the ones I've got grow in a kind of circular diameter. And we'll see when I get the rainbow chalice out. That's just grown in a really strange one. Might do, Jay. Not too sure. I tend to sell them without the frag plugs on. And then when I send them through the post, it's fine. So I use the little plug pots. They'll just float in the sample jar, and it's up to people to do it on that. I prefer not to, but I can do. What I tend to do, if I get a piece with a flat base, then I'll just use glue. So I will use this is the glue I've been using for years. Keep it in the fridge. It's the Ecotech one. So it's not the cheapest. So I think it's about £22. It is 75 mil. Keep in fridge. That lasts me at least 6 to 9 months. So I don't have to throw it away. It doesn't go off as long as you keep it in the fridge. You just shake it up and then you use it. Right, so I'm just going to do a few more comments and then I'm going to go and put those back in the tank. Right, so I've only got one piece, Stefan, of that watermelon. So if that one's okay, you can have the watermelon. We'll sort that out for you. Ah, yeah, Julie, was it the avatar that you got from me? The green one with the reddish eyes? I think it was. Recovery time, it depends. Because I don't usually sell them until the whites, the jagged edges have grown back. So sometimes that can be 3 weeks. Sometimes it can be a couple of months. That's the only thing with chalices. It's not like SPS. You plonk them on a frag plug and then you're away, because I find it doesn't work that way. You need face cam back. Do you really? Okay. There you go. Right, let's go through some others. Thank you very much, Michael, for reminding everyone of that. Appreciate it if you could. eBaying to get cash towards the next tank. I know what you mean. Yes, it is an avatar. Definitely an avatar. I can definitely that the watermelon got one piece and that's obviously gone to Stefan. I've also got a really nice colony and I'll post a picture on Instagram tomorrow. We've actually got some frags ready to go. It's blue with pink eyes. I'm not too sure if it's a mummy chalice or what it is. I'm not too sure. But I'll post a picture tomorrow. What I'll do, if people are interested in more than 1 or 2 pieces, then I'll wait. I won't let the avatars go until they're properly healed. And then we'll go from there. So I hope that's not your chopping board. So many years ago, Ecotech used to do a fragging set. So I'm just going to turn this to the other camera. So this is actually a fragging set. They don't do it anymore. So this originally would have been £75. But because it's split on the bottom, I got this from Charterhouse Aquatics when they used to be in East London. And it's a bit worse for wear now. But inside, I mean, actually, these here are those. So I still use this, but it's really good. I mean, it's a bit rusty, but I've had this for about 8 years, even though I didn't start straight away. So no, it's not a chopping board, Ross. I would never get away with that, to be fair. But I find it really useful just to put tools in it more than anything else. Right, so let's have a look. Another piece. Be like for my family washing, like QVC. Sorry, Jay. And we've just the reason why I'm closing down the Red Sea 450. It's been going over 6.5 years. We're actually having an extension that way, so the kitchen is going to be extended. So there's no excuse for you, Jay. Nice kit. Thank you very much on that side. Right. What I'm going to go and do, I'm going to go and put these back in the tank as the water starts to cool off, and then I'm going to go and get the frag I really didn't want to frag, but I'm going to, which is the rainbow chalice. So just give me 2 minutes and I'll be back with you. Right, I'm back, as you can see. Right, any more comments? What we got on here? Yeah, I agree. Michael, there's no chance he's going to get a new tank now. Yeah, he's squeaky bum time, Ross. That's for sure. Just got serious. We haven't got time. I can't wait for it to be out of the water for 25, 30 minutes. So time is going to be of the essence in a minute. Kitchen Island. There was someone, you've probably seen this already. There was someone in Australia who had a kitchen island and it went up like that, and there was tank like that. God knows how they managed to do it. I wouldn't have thought so. He's built that yet. My water change is done. More shopping space. Right, let's go to the bottom of the coals. I'm just putting this off. You probably realise putting off having to frag what I really am squeaky bum time about. To the kitchen island. Thank you very much. Not down to me, down to my lovely wife. She's got the taste, not me. New spot for the tank. Right, okay, without further ado then. So this is, let's get that comment off. Change the camera angle. Right, so this is the rainbow chalice. There. So it is, ordinarily it's red and blue around the front. Got yellow there. What's weird enough, this side here is completely flat, so it hasn't grown that side there. Yeah, there's two other colors. There's a little bit of orange around this color, around this side, and also green. So I suspect because it's not getting the light, it's actually preferred darker conditions. Now, when I bought this, it was a lot smaller, and I put it onto 2 frag plugs. So in theory, because it's not growing on one side, as in that side there, I should be able to frag that. But I'm going to be able to detach it around this area here. So if I snip into that and snip into that, I might be able to break it off. Or I might not be able to break it off. So we'll see. So I'm not too sure where to start on this one. Usually with corals, I don't care. I just frag them and see what happens. But when you've got a lot of invested in that, you feel slightly different. So, right, where we start. And also there's a frag plug there. So that's not going to work. So what I think I'm going to do is cut around this area here. And then I'm going to slice around this area here. Yeah, how do you think I feel, Ross? So here we go. Oh, now that is really loose. You can just see that it's wobbling around like a good one. Now, if I pull that, I'll end up tearing it, which I really don't want to do. So I've got to find a way I can cut through it. So I won't be calling a Cobra meeting. So I think we're okay. So I'm just going to cut. I don't know if you can see properly. It's hard to cut and keep it on the camera. So we just got about 1 centimetre to do. You can just see that there. Nearly there. Still not quite there. You can just see, in fact, it's coming off of the plug, which I really don't want it to do. So I'm just going to cut just along this area here. Now, something's fallen off. That's a frag plug. And we're done. Whew, you can see my hands are shaking. So that's the colony there. And then that's the frag. And it's just a little bit loose there. Hopefully that'll be all right. So I'm going to put both of these into the sump. I could have a griffin saw, but where's the fun? And also they're about 500 quid, and I probably don't frag as often as I'd like to. And I suppose if this died, this is probably worth more than 500 quid. So you could argue it would pay for itself. But if I just sat here with a saw and went zzz, zzz, and it's done, would be done in 2 minutes, which might please some people. So yeah, thank you. So right, I'm going to go and pop this back into the sump straight away, and then I'm going to come back. Right, glad all that's done. When I've put the chalice back in, it looks fine. So we'll see. If it's going to strip, it's going to strip in the next 24 hours, I find. Right, let's go back to there. Right, let's see what some of the comments say. I might have looked confident, but I didn't feel it at that time. Thank you, Ross. Thanks, Andy. And relax. Absolutely. Well, I won't be fully relaxed until that's okay. I hate to get out tomorrow and it's as white as that lid, because then that would be a disaster. Right, loving that type of live stream. So Jay, maybe you should do a live stream when you make the Pico. There you go, me too. That feels like a rabbit's nose there. Thank you. More saying that. Thanks, Michael. So you do things. The easiest thing to frag is SPS, because you just break the pieces off. Zoas I find the most fiddly, and I usually do those in a pot, and I have it full up with water to there. I put the Zoas in there. Let's take that comment off. And then I cut them underwater. The reason why I cut them underwater is they don't squirt. And then what I do, I take them out of water, put them on the frag plug, and leave them out for a couple of minutes. Thank you, Skids. Thank you. I have a little one to run my tank. Okay, Chalice. Thank you. We'll have to watch what? Is that Jay, or is that some more fragging on Zoas maybe? Right. I think it's time for a giveaway now. And the boys who join on the live stream can enter. Comment on there. So, what's the giveaway? Well, I said at the top of the live stream that I bought this from these guys. That was back in November 2018, and the case is in tip-top condition. For those who didn't see, as that, and I've spoken to the guy who runs it, and you want to do a giveaway for a fragging kit. So, what should we have? So in the comments, all you need to put is fragging. So if you put fragging in the comments, and then you can win one of those fragging kits. Now, what I've got to try and do is then put it all into the roulette and do what we usually do on a Friday night of putting the names in. So I'm just going to give it 3 or 4 minutes to put fragging in. And then we're going to do the draw. If I can find the site it's supposed to be on. Right, it's more in now. Right, I've just got to find it because I can never find the actual site where it is on. So I just need a minute to do that, and then I'll start putting the names in. And then we can go from there. Right, let's go to the top and start putting the names in. This is usually where I hand over to the other 3 guys to talk. Oh my God, we've got loads of people going. This is going to take me a month for Sundays. Now, AB reefing, you've put dragging rather than fragging. I'm not too sure what you do in the spare time, but I'll put your entry in even though technically I shouldn't because you've done a typo. Jambo's Reef. Ollie. Techers. I'm just going to put Techers rather than Techers Reef. I'll be here all day. David. I'm going to put David T. Cooper's Reef. Good Reef. So I'll put Good Reef. Right, just put Julie. We all know who Julie is. Cornish Reefer. Mark Dodd. Bearded. Jamie Vokes. That's come out of Jamie Kate, so I'm not too sure why. Let's change that back, folks. Got fat fingers today. NB Reefing. Andy's Reef. Skids. Am I allowed to say that on there? I'm not too sure. Alex H. I was going to put Kim rather than your full name, Kim. Unless there's another Kim later on, which is going to be very confusing. UKM 120. Just going to put J. I'm not going to spell all that, J. It's going to be too much for me. Sorry if I'm destroying the brand, though. Phil Reef. Snog 4. I put Graham. Daniel T. Cotty's Reef. And it's come out citrus. Not too sure why it's done that. Michael. I'm not going to put Butler. Sam Tate. Hi, Sam. Chris Allen. Aqua Ian. It's not one to put Aqua in, but we get them in the end. Right, Rigsy. Right, I think we've come to the end of it. Right, oh, economical refund. I'm just going to put economical because it will. I definitely won't be able to do that. So apologies, I've butchered the name of your YouTube channel. Apologies. Right, and then Colin. Now, Colin, I'm sure you've had an avatar before from me. I'm sure I sent some calls up to you, didn't I? And they got 1. I'm just going to put, I'm not going to put 1/1/1978. I'm going to put 1/1978. Right, now I'm going to just type in end, which means no more entries, which is done. Right, okay, so I press done. Hopefully I can now spin the wheel. Let's get rid of the comments at the top there. So, see if that's going to show up. That's going to show up, I think, hopefully. So we're now going to, it's spinning. Oh, who are we going on? Aqua Ian. So Aqua Ian, if you can contact me on Instagram, hopefully on Instagram, and then I can get your address, speak to these guys, coles.co.uk, they've got a website, and we can get one of these kits out to you. So congratulations, Aqua Ian. I'll just put that in there. Right, before I go, let's just go through the comments if I've missed any, because I do have a habit of missing comments, as some of you will know. Right, so fragging. If you win, it's a sign. Well, it's a sign of a fix. Almost frag that Holy Grail. You bought it without fragging, didn't it? Where's Steve when you need him? I'm not too sure where he is. Zoa fragging. Okay, I'll see what I can do. Steve will be so stressed out. Oh, bless him on Friday. When we gave away an XR15 Gen 5, he was slightly stressed at the beginning, and then he had his usual blowout on the Wi-Fi and echo. I'm not too sure about a monthly one. I have to get enough subject matter to do that. Live fragging on Zoas. I have to start practicing. I haven't fragged Zoas for a little while. And also, you're supposed to wear glasses and gloves, and I don't. So I may have to get, Ross, if you can send me some of your lambing gloves, then I might. I'll have to get some proper gloves. So I wouldn't recommend doing it without gloves, even though I don't. Comment now. I started filling my IRA at 10 this morning and just turned it off. It made 70 litres. So what's that? It's 10, 8. So it's what, about 10 litres per hour. So some of you might know I put out a video yesterday of RO water. So I've got 100 gallon per day and 150 gallon per day RO machine. And the massive difference in how long it takes to make 10 litres. Julie, if you haven't got a pump, I would get a pump. It makes a big difference. I tried it both with and without a pump on 100 gallon per day and 150 gallon per day, and it cuts the time in half. So if you're not using a pump, you probably could have made if you used a pump, you'd probably make 140 litres in that time. Thanks, Stefan. Yeah. See, the colder the weather, the harder it is. If again you see the video, just the other side of the wall, my machine stays in the garden 365 days a year. So it's got a big poly box over it, but I don't do anything with it. Good on you. Booster pump. That should double your production. And be interested to know, so the TDS that I have coming out of my machine, I think it's 330, which is really, really poor from where I am. So if we've got a few minutes, yeah, Judy, you're the same area as me. So basically, what kind of TDS you got coming in? So I know, Ross, yours is it 30? Right, just going to move down because I'm a little bit behind. There we go. Colin's got an avatar. Sorry, I'm well behind in the comments as usual. So 5 inches now. Wow, that's grown really quick. And Colin, do you keep that on the sand bed or is it on the rock? Be interesting. And we'll get down to the well dones. Congratulations. Just catching up. Thanks, Ross. Live on Zara fragging. Steve is off buying corals. I don't think he's got any room. Thank you. Thanks, Andy. Thank you. There we go. Yeah, Ross is 30, 27, 72. I've heard that spotless water, the TDS coming out is 70 or 80. Lots of silicates, Jay, but I don't know if that's true. It's a shame Steve's not here as well because he uses our friend Spotless. Just made a batch of fresh water. Thank you. Right, so where are we? We're just under an hour. I'm getting a bit dry, and I'll take it away about doing another live stream on Sunday on Zoas. Although I'm bound to get loads of feedback on that. Did you say the S word? Yeah, I usually don't say the S word or the KH word either. Yeah, absolutely. Round where we are, there's someone I know, Julie, it's about 4 miles from us, and the TDS, he says, is about 500. God knows what kind of speed he produces water at. So I think it's an inside the M25 thing. Right, it's 300 plus. So Cottage Reef, whereabouts are you? Just before I'm gonna say goodbye in a minute because I'm sure you're all sick of my voice. But I'd be interested to know where you are. Usually, if you're in a city centre, it's worse. Yeah, geez. I just got to remember there's a lag. So there's about a 30-second lag between what I say and what you hear. So it's a bit off-putting. If I say things and nothing comes on the screen, you think of people ignoring you. But I know that there is a delay. At 240 for us. So it's a real mix of under 100 in the Midlands and elsewhere. Right. So unless there's any more questions, I am going to say goodbye. This Friday, we've got another Newbury Park. That's not far from me. Another live stream. So on my channel, we've got an open mic session. So at the moment, we've got 2 confirmed guests. We've got one more to come on. So that's this Friday with the boys. So this has been really strange, just talking to yourself, whereas as opposed to talking to the 3 lads. So yeah, this Friday night, 8 p.m. UK time, the usual place. And that's it. So just a couple more comments. I don't want to leave on that. Thank you, Julie. Yeah, I'll try, and if I can get the right subject, then I will. So the banner will go up for the live stream hopefully tomorrow. I'll put some pictures on Instagram over the next few days just to let you know how the calls are going. If any are stripped, I'll let you know. Hopefully, the one I really don't want to strip is the Rainbow Chalice, but we will see. So based on that, and we are at an hour, I will love you and leave you. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate you taking an hour on your Sunday evening when a lot of you got work tomorrow. There's a lot of better things you can do. So over and out.